What is up, Watch Fam? I am Christian, the curator of the Theo and Harris Watch Shop, and I haven't said that in a long time. And today we're doing a Q&A. We're going to be talking about what certain watches say about you as a person, if you own them. Talking about my favorite Rolex Daytona, some of the rumors that surround Rolex authorized dealers and their shockingly significant amount of inventory, and a bunch of it, like my next watch as well. So today's gonna be a great episode. Sammy's behind the other mic here, and he's gonna be asking us some questions. If you miss Sam in the videos, comment down below, because I think comments mean that YouTube will recommend this video and we won't get 9,000 views. So it's important to me.
Best watch for the summer?
Good question. Why do you ask?
It is the summer.
Nothing on leather, right? I mean, leather generally is an uncomfortable thing to wear in the summer unless it's assless chaps because they breathe, to be fair. I would say rubber, right? I would say, JLC's Polaris. I would say IWC's Aquatimer. I just talked about those two watches in an episode recently. Go take a look. Rolex's Yachtmaster, particularly impressive. They only make it in precious metal. I mean, that watch truly represents everything the Yachtmaster always should have been, as opposed to just being a fancier sub. It was always supposed to be, right, the watch that would actually be comfortable in the summer if you're rich. And it's not called the Boatmaster. It's not called the the Rowboat Master or whatever. It's the Yachtmaster, right? So it's supposed to be in precious metal, I think. Any number of small independent, like in manufacturers. Christopher Ward is great. Ver is great. This is not sponsored by those companies. I'm just saying, take a look. Helios is great. There are so many great small manufacturers of watches, independent. Go over to oneandwound.com. I always give them credit when I can. That's a fantastic place to look for small, affordable, watches. Not everything is a Rolex Yachtmaster or a JLC Polaris. It's ridiculous, right? We live in a fantasy world here in the watch industry where we think that everything is like that. Zenith Defies in blue ceramic, which has since been discontinued, and I can't understand why. Those watches were fantastic. They're beautiful. I'm a big skeleton guy, so maybe I'm a little bit biased. Yeah, so those are the watches that I think are great for summer, and a million more, of course, but it's a good start.
All right, what are your thoughts on Loro Piana Dupes?
Good question. So dupes are like shoes that look like the real thing, but aren't. So I think some of them are probably great. Like I've got a pair of Suit Supply ones that are awesome. I have a sand pair of Suit Supply that they gave me as a gift after we did like an engagement together, and they're amazing. The quality is fantastic. I've worn them on a million work trips, probably 10 work trips, close to 1 million. And they've been fantastic. They've held up completely. I have no complaints. The only difference I would say between my Suit Supply, Loro Piana, Dupes, and the real thing, which I'm wearing right now, the Loro Pianas don't stretch as much, in all fairness. But the Suit Supply ones didn't stretch very much either, to be totally frank. I mean, it was a little bit, sure, but not a lot. Not a lot. Big fan of the genre of open walk, summer walk shoe. Definitely rides that line of formality, but with a casual kind of, angle here, which I think is kind of where we are as a culture. Everyone's gonna be more comfortable today in a shoe that rides that line, just because that's where we are culturally. We just released a great episode on The Zero about the changing definition of luxury in the watch industry and how it's different in all cultures, right? New York metropolitan, culture is much different than what you're going to find, rich means in Dubai or in India, which is an example that we use. So go ahead and join The Zero if you're interested in more in-depth watch talk. We release a podcast every week. Go take a look. Other brands, Sintoni, Scarosso, I believe that's how it's pronounced. Aurelian, haven't tried those brands, but they also do it. Sintonis aren't cheap though. Sintonis are very expensive. They just take the design.
Moving on, favorite Rolex Daytona?
Good question. So easy answer would be, I love a whole host of Daytonas, right? I think the white gold with the blue dial is fantastic. I think that yellow gold on a strap with Tahitian mother of pearl is fantastic. I love, the new yellow gold with yellow dial with black subdials is fantastic. There's a million Rolex Daytonas are fantastic. That being said, we're talking about my favorite, the creme de la creme, the cream of the crop. I would say Platinum Daytona. Diamond baguette indices, if possible. I would also do it without the diamond baguette indices. It's almost just as cool, to be frank. I would also say I believe white gold Daytona with the rubies. That was recently worn by somebody at the Open, U.S. Open. Just someone just wore that. The watches were crazy there. I don't know if you saw that, but yeah, that's a watch that's not even in the catalog. It's super rare, $400,000 or something like this, something absurd, something
Chump change,
ridiculous. I don't know if that's the retail or that's the current value. I think it's probably the current value. It's probably not the retail, but insane stuff. But the rubies, I'm a sucker for the occasional gem set, and I don't own anything that's like truly gem set. I have one Bulgari Piaget, but I'm a Cartier Bulgari Piaget, but that's one. And it's small and it's diamonds, so it's not colorful, right? But like one crazy, I've considered putting a gem set bezel on this. I've considered it. I'm like, that'd be insane. But I just happen to love the Mark I ceramic bezel. Yeah. But I would definitely consider it. It's not that much money, relatively speaking, and I think that that would be nasty. But it may becomes a doucher watch. And I think that now I'm wearing a super cool non-doucher watch.
Except that it's white gold, which makes it doucher.
Exactly. And these are, relatively speaking, these are boring Daytonas, right? I mean, I could have went with a far more collectible Daytona. I could have gone with a Daytona that, people would kill for. And these watches are great, but they're modern and they are mass-produced and it's different, right? I mean, but the Daytona category as a collector's category is insane. These watches are like having a rare Picasso on your wrist. Everyone sees them and says, oh my God, that watch is like truly wow. And one of the reasons people even spend that kind of money, and we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes millions of dollars, usually hundreds of thousands on these watches, is because, they've got so much money, but they feel, confident in the residual value. They feel confident in the 5-year, 10-year, trajectory of these pieces and their values. And I think that they're right. You can't underestimate these classics. And it gets proven out in the biggest collectible markets. Think about legends like Basquiat and his place in the art market. Not only is his style all over New York City iconography, but he also sold a painting for $110 million in 2017, one of the most expensive ever. Now, I bring up Basquiat because he literally just had another multi-million-dollar sale, and this one didn't benefit some billionaire collector or some random guy, but it benefited regular folks, relatively speaking, like you and I, because the sale was made on behalf of investors like you. My viewers. Well, that's just my viewers, but the members of the Masterworks Art Investing Program, a longtime sponsor of this channel that's distributed back over $60 million in total net proceeds to investors from their 23 exits so far. Masterworks breaks blue chip contemporary art offerings into shares, diversified fractional ownership, so you can diversify your portfolio without needing millions of dollars or obviously fine art expertise. They do both of those things for you. Just over 3 years ago, Masterworks offered this Basquiat painting to their investors for $5.7 million, and they just sold it for $8 million. So people who put in $10,000, that initial offering, walked away with a profit of $2,600. After fees, by the way. So if you want to join other subscribers in checking out Masterworks, you can use our link in the description to take a look at all the Masterworks offerings and see if Masterworks, an art investment, is for you.
Is terry cloth in?
I don't know. So you can never really ask me what is in or what is out, because I truly have no idea. I haven't looked in, particularly consistently in ever, maybe. When I was young, I just wore Abercrombie and that was in, but I looked bad. And now I wear things that I like that aren't necessarily in, because it's just not important to me. Is terry cloth cool? Is terry cloth beautiful? Is terry cloth, an interesting, attractive vibe in the summertime? I think so. Yeah, I love terry cloth. Big fan. I think it's comfortable. I think it's evocative of the 1970s. I think it looks great with a Piaget polo. And you can get really great terry cloth stuff from a whole bunch of places. I just bought 2 beautiful terry cloth polos, long sleeve, from Grand Lamar. I shopped from them before. So I'm a medium, and Grand Lamar cuts things very small. So I'm a large there, and it's not because I've gotten taller. So it's not like the best thing. But yeah, big fan of what I got. But you can also go to Abercrombie and Fitch, for God's sakes. I've bought terry cloth from Abercrombie and Fitch. There's a million places. Tombolo is cool. My sister got me an awesome Tombolo, thing. I have a couple. I think I have 2. One golf one and then one like light blue. With, it's cool. I love terry. I love terry cloth. Terry Benedict. He owns the major casinos in Las Vegas.
Are the rumors true that 80s are sitting on significant Submariner inventory?
Yes. To the best of my knowledge. To the best of my knowledge, yes. Yes, many ADs have told me, many folks at ADs have told me that they sit on significant inventory. Significant. Like getting you a Daytona is not a big deal at all. Not a Daytona, Submariner. Not a big deal at all. At all. Getting it approved through corporate, because there's like corporate meetings where they decide who gets what, that's a different story. But like they've got just hordes of these things. They've got hordes of these things. I always ask a follow-up, well, what about like a GMTs? And no one really wants to answer those questions. No one really wants to answer Daytona questions. Nobody. You know, it's very fascinating. It's weird. It's a weird world, ladies and gentlemen. But ADs, people that work at ADs, often tell me, because as someone in the watch industry with a channel, people want to talk. People want to spill the beans, man. And you can spill the beans to me anytime. I'll keep a secret. I'm never going to say who your AD is or what, but they want to better inform the community. I actually think it's kind of cool, right? So long as there's a mutual trust of anonymity, they want to inform the community. And the truth is, these watches are there, man. These watches are there. It's crazy. We're led to believe the exact opposite.
Moving on, what does a Patek Aquanaut white gold blue dial say about you?
I mean, you're very tasteful. It's a fantastic watch. I think it's one of the great Aquanauts. I really feel that way. Great time only Aquanauts for sure. I think the grenade, the green is also amazing. I actually prefer the blue, but they're both, we're splitting hairs here, but they're both fantastic. It also says to anyone that knows anything about watches that you must have a spend history. I was talking to not an AD. I was talking to someone who was asking their AD for one. And you're talking about real spend history. Big spend history. You have 200,000 plus, which for me is a lot of money. And that's not on good shit. That's on shit they wanted to sell you. Yeah, that's on watches you didn't want. That being said, I know people that are being offered some of the complicated ones. I don't know. I can't make a rhyme or reason out of it sometimes. Is that even an expression? I think I just made that up. It's a thing. I don't think I used it right. I can't make odds and ends, sticks and stones out of it, man. It's groovy, baby.
What are your favorite places to buy jeans and chinos?
I only wear Levi's 501s. I only wear Levi's. I love them. I think they're great. I bought high rise jeans from Spear & McKay. They sell them. One of the few places that sells them. Maximilian Mogg also sells high rise jeans. They're good for like when you're wearing a sport jacket. It elongates your torso and you look taller, which I could really use because like I fancy myself 5'10", 5'11". I'm 5'7", 5'8". Actually, I ran into somebody the day that's who was it? I was waiting online at the airport, and someone, I think it was then. It could have been not been, but I think it was then. And I think the guy said, "You're much taller than I thought." It's like, that's incredibly nice of you. But I always buy Levi's because they're not the best, I'm sure, but they're great, and I love them, and they're reliable, and they're easy to buy, and I love the colors, and I've just been buying them for a long time. It's just an old American brand. I'm a big fan. I'm sure they're better though, but I don't know. I think $100 for a pair of jeans is enough. It's just me. Everything else I have is way overpriced. So can I get a break every once in a while? Can I every once in a while fall on the efficient end of this freaking thing?
And last question, what's your next watch?
Okay, I'm not looking for another watch, guys. I just bought this Date 8 and I'm never selling that. That's a lifer. I'm not currently shopping for a watch. That being said, next watch is, as I've been saying this for a while, it's complicated Patek. I've said this. I've talked about it here. I've talked about it on the Zero. It's complicated Patek. I can't wait. And it's going to be something that is not special in any real way. It deserves more praise than it gets. How about that? But I don't think it'll be a watch that like collectors look at and say, oh, wow, that guy's got a great watch. Nah. It'll be a fairly run-of-the-mill, fairly entry-level complicated Patek Philippe. And then from there, we'll see where we'll go. Whatever. But I think I definitely channel the old man, steez and aesthetic and persona and elder statesman. I'm trying to do that. Maybe poorly. Maybe I'm failing. But I try to. Because it's who I feel. I feel like I genuinely do. I feel out of place when I'm wearing a GMT. I really do. I feel like my arms are too skinny. I feel like I should be wearing a small, dainty watch because that's the size watch that I've earned physically. That's how I feel. So yeah, complicated Patek at some point, annual, perpetual, something like that. Probably annual because I think I could scratch the same itch for 30 grand that I could for 60. So why not save 30 grand, right? I mean, that's 60 grand, post-tax, right? I mean, pre-tax, however we're going to put it. So yeah, that's it. I enjoyed this. Sammy, love you, buddy.
It was great. Love you too.
So throw Sam some fucking compliments so we bring him back on the show.